Lord Linlithgow, or Victor Alexander John Hope, was born in 1887 on the 24th of September in Hopeton House in Scotland. He was the first and oldest child of John Adrian Louis Hope, the Marquess of Linlithgow and the Governor-General of Australia. Victor's godmother was Queen Victoria, and he was educated at Eton. At 21 years of age, he would become the Marquess of Linlithgow. Just 4 years later, in 1912, he was elected to Fellow of the Royal Society of Edinburgh. At the outbreak of war, Linlithgow was just 27 years old, but was given command of the Lothians and Border Horse in battle. For a small part of the war, Linlithgow became the Colonel of the Royal Scots and led them into battle. After the war, he was commended for good leadership and would be awarded the title of Officer in the Order of the British Empire in 1919. In the interwar period, Linlithgow would serve many roles. He would serve minor roles in the Conservative government in the 1920s and 30s. He would also become Civil Lord of Admiralty from 1922 to 1924, become chairman of the Unionist Party organisation in 1924. He served as the president of the Navy League from 1924 to 1931 and became chairman of the Medical Research Council. He would also become part of the governing body of the Imperial College in London and become president of the Edinburgh and East of Scotland College of Agriculture from 1924 to 1931. On the subject of farming, Victor Hope had many agricultural roles, including being the chairman of the Committee on the Distribution of Agricultural Produce, or the spreading of agriculture across the Empire, chairman of the Royal Commission on the Distribution of Agriculture in India, and when he was the Viceroy of India, he made agriculture a top priority. However, Victor's greatest achievements were yet to come. During this interwar period, he had been offered the governorship of Madras, Chennai, which offered a nice profit and was a small but bustling state in the south of India, though he turned this down. Along with this, he had also been offered the Governor-Generalship of Australia, which again he refused, due to not wanting to go there. However, in early 1936, after the announcement of the resignation of Lord Willingdon as the Viceroy of India, the role was offered to Victor, which he accepted, and so he embarked on a 2.5 weeks journey to Bombay with his family. He arrived in Mumbai, on the 17th of April 1936. On his arrival, he and his family set off to Delhi, and once he got to Delhi, he immediately got involved in both the local and national politics of the Raj. He passed the Government of India Act. This act started the idea of local elections in India, and so in 5 of the 11 provinces in British India, the main party, or the INC, or the Indian National Congress, won most of the elections. However, the other 6 provinces were known as the princely states, and so their Rajas refused to allow elections in their state for fear of being deposed. These elections did help weaken the power of the Rajas and unified India under Linlithgow. In 1939, on the outbreak of the Second World War, Linlithgow appealed for unity across the nation, but the 2 major parties in India, the Muslim League, which had won in Bengal, Bangladesh and Pakistan, and the Indian National Congress, which had won in India, refused to work together on the basis of a large Muslim/Hindu conflict in India, which still lasts today. Due to this, they both quit elections, and so Linlithgow had to unite the peoples of India without the Indian National Congress. Another thing that led to the resignation of the Indian National Congress and the Muslim League was the August Offer, which gave the Indian people more rights. The INC refused this as they wished to rule over the Indian people with one Raja instead of creating an Indian democracy. This offer also frustrated the INC as it hinted at the idea of both Burma and Pakistan. Distrust would grow between the Indian parties and Victor's government, leading to the creation of the Quit India movement, or the QIM. Victor would arrest these leaders, including Gandhi, in order to keep the nation together. During his viceroyship, he sent many resources to the UK, including armaments, foodstuffs and resources, and, without India, the UK would have lost the war. He is also credited with mobilising Indian forces to send to Britain and men to fight the Japanese in the Burma campaign, which started in 1943. In fact, at the end of his reign, the Indian army consisted of over 2 million men, with the recreation of the Indian Army, the Indian Gurkhas and the Indian Artillery. Along with this, there were many Indian men fighting on the Western Front. However, with the war, there was a large lack of food everywhere, and so he is partially blamed for the inevitable Bengal famine. This was in his final year of reign, and then would resign from his position and move back to Hopetoun House with his family in 1943, where he would die in 1952 on the 5th of January. Lord Linlithgow is perhaps not in the front rank of significant Britons, but is through the contribution of men like him, often obscured by more famous figures, that history takes its particular shape.